Welcome to Trading Lounge and the daily US stocks for Thursday, November the 3rd. So the Fed have spoken their piece, and we've seen a bit of volatility in the market, not a lot, but a little bit. So I would like to see the dust settle before I call in a top for the S&P. We looked at yesterday possibility of moving up higher, and one of the things that I was going, which I sort of talked about, was using the number 3,800 here as the resistance. So I think I'll stay with that for the moment. If that, if we get a nice low below the level here, and then that low gets breached, wherever that low may be, and then that gets breached from that point, then we're likely to have a downtrend at the moment. It's a little bit difficult. I mean, I can count that down as 5 waves. I can count that down as 5 waves. But then what do we do with this here? It's probably a bit, wrong of me, but with spikes, I kind of tend to ignore them, so I just sort of chop it off at the top, and the legs here. I know that's not sort of the right thing to do in anything, but once you do that, then you can kind of pick up the flow of things, and then if that wasn't there, you would see that it was reasonably bearish. But at the same time, it could be an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave down here as well. You with me? So we would want to see a little bit further down here. Now let's just say that the market does come down here, so we could look at this as 1 here and 2 here, and then this would all be like a 1 and 2 and a 3, 4, 5 for the 3rd wave, a 4th wave, and a 5th wave. So what we're sort of looking for at the end of the day to call the move in, is a nice sort of 5 wave structure down here. And don't think that you're missing anything. Well, you are, but I wouldn't see it like that. What you're trying to do is actually confirm the direction of it. That's the safe side of it, and then we can get it, in some sort of position over here, or if we can see the 5, we can get it back at the 61.8%, because, you can short it now, and you could put the stop above this one here, and then you'd just be trying your luck, if you're feeling lucky. So, I'll just leave it at that. The other thing that I just wanted to, we'll talk about that more when we do that particular video in a minute. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was the US dollar index here for a moment. And with the US dollar index here, if you've been following this, then then you know that, well, basically what I've been looking at is an A wave, a B wave, and looking for this C wave here of wave 4, because from B to C I can count 5 waves, but chucking a spanner in the works, I can put wave 1 over here and wave 2 over here for that, and then look at this as wave 3 here, and then a wave 4 here. So yesterday we took this to the max of looking at, well, I haven't relabeled it properly again, but basically an A and a B and a C, and that's just above the 38.2% retracement level, the 40%, so a bit closer to the 50%. So kind of like, yeah, all right, we'll live with that for a moment, we'll see what happens after the Fed meeting and so on. And the other the other option, the more bullish one, having this wave C in here and having this wave 4 here, was to look at this as wave 1 to the upside here, as 1 and 2 here, and then wave 3 to here, and 4, and then 5. So a little bit, if I just put this over here, just so you've got a bit of a grip on what I'm looking at here, a bit of a dodgy count. So this is becoming quite sort of interesting here, because if it was going to be bearish, let's say, then we would see this down as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here. But when this top here gets taken out here, I'm not saying to go long there, but when that top gets taken out, it creates that as a corrective pattern. And then as a corrective pattern here, then we would look at this here. You can see the little 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 here, and going up for 5 here. Now, I'm not saying to go long there. That's not quite the right thing to do. It's not, I mean, it's right, but it's not the best thing to do. But we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So after 5 waves here in the opposite direction, then we would get another 5 waves here, wouldn't we? We'd have a little ABC pattern here, pulling back. pulling back here, and then having like that, this one, I don't know how high it would go, but just sort of, you know, guessing at it like that. Now that would give us 5 waves there, and that's, you know, from this top to this bottom here, that's the 61.8%. The only other count that it could be on the bearish side, just to eliminate things, is putting all of this as wave 1 here, and then putting this as wave 2 over here, and then coming down at that point. But what I'm trying to establish, if we get that stronger US dollar here, then it's likely the stock market will end up pushing lower at that point. So based on this here, this moving up here, this is a pretty strong case, especially if it takes out that little top there, which is just doing now, and causing this to be corrective, and then it'll make that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's kind of getting there. So that means that the S&P will push down further here and continue down here. So the short side, calling the top in here, you know, can be, you know, that was one thing that we were looking at, and it's a pretty strong case. You know, the only thing I whinged about was this particular you know, pattern here, and yeah, so anyway, just sort of pointing that out. So it does look bearish based on what I can see with the US dollar here, but we need to pull this up here. If this goes up here in 5 waves, where would that leave this market here? Because we're also looking at this market in terms of, I think I had it on 20k ticks or something or other here for a bullish count here. So that would leave this here. It's just something we need to be aware of. If we looked at this whole move up here as a leading diagonal, as an A wave or wave 1 here, then we'd have an ABC back here. So the time that the this pushes up here in this case, right, is it possible that we can look at, I'd need to clean this up a little bit, but is it possible in one way or another that, you know, we would, the time the dollar tops out, would we get down here somewhere, you know, and then push up from that point? So it's kind of interesting in a way. So I'm just looking at, just trying, you know, I know it makes things a little bit confusing, but it's important that, you know, I look at my, you know, I'm being paid to look at everything, and look at what places we can trade. So we can go long here on this to this point, and you can go short on the S&P to this point down here. Now, you know, the 3650 here is the lower end of group 2, and it's at the 61.8%. You know, 36 is important, 37 is important. They're larger numbers, but this is just part of group 2, you know. So yeah, 6 and 7, you know, they're sort of important, but I just find the 650 more important. And yeah, so little joke here, why was 6 scared of 7? Because 7, 8, 9. So anyway, let's just cruise on to the stocks. So with Apple here, we were looking at Apple yesterday with this particular scenario here, and we're also looking at with it over here as a C wave and a move up. So we're going to bring that in here and call the top in for Apple on this, and we're going to move into, let's just cruise. I think I had on a 50 here. We had this. It's just another count. It doesn't really matter at this point for that one, so don't let me confuse you on that. This is basically where we were yesterday, and the thing now is that we've got 5 waves in this move down here, so I don't need this here, and we're looking to go short below that level. So that's basically what we're looking at now, and we'll just keep cruising in here to the 5k tick, and we can put that on here. And so it looks like we're going to be coming down here further at this point. If you've got to stop, just keep it above the level here for the time being, and then to the 1k tick. So yeah, my justification for this is that we were looking at, we're asking ourselves, will we have 5 waves down or will we have 3 waves down? So we ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4. We got that extra low. We did talk about putting wave 4 here yesterday and so on. So there's the 5 waves. There's the this little ABC correction didn't quite get back to where it needed to get to, but anyway, good enough at that point. And really it was about finding that low here and taking that out. But I think I've got 148 here, so I probably talked about that as well. So yeah, there we go. We've got 5 waves here now, so we should see this continue down lower now for this, and we can put that in over here, and we'll just have a little bit more of a detailed look at that on the 100 ticks. And this is where we were yesterday, I think. Oh no, this is, I can't remember where it was on this particular chart, but we didn't get that B wave back up here, so, but that's okay. I mean, you know, that's why we look to go long under this, you know, under that previous low there. That's you know, that's just the basic pattern that we use all the time. So this pattern here, find that low and then you go put that under there and then under the next one. Most of the time it goes back above the level, of course, and that's the most common pattern where it goes back above the level, but you still use the lows to move in on. Now the thing here is that I'm just going to put this here, and I'll just check on that later. I won't burn time up there, but there's a couple of ways to look at this next move here, with 1 and 2 here and the 3rd wave here and a small 4th wave. Even though it may overlap there a little bit, it seems to be okay. So there'll be this situation here and we can look at this as wave 1 here, and then we'll be looking back for wave 2 that could I'll put it high. It may want to retest that again. Normally when group 2 here, the 8 and the 72 and the 6 here, when that becomes the retested resistance, then it's sort of finished at that time. It's, you know, it's if we've got the 150, which is the medium level, the closest largest number, this is group 1 and group 2. And because we're coming down in this case, once group 2 finds itself as a resistance, then it will move down. It'll have a little bit of a flicker at the 150 eventually. With the 150, oh, 150's here, sorry. What's this here? Is that 145? Yeah, sorry, I meant the 5. So, yeah, that's all going well. Now the other thing with this too, this 5-way structure here, it's not set in stone, because it could be down for 1, back for 2, down for 1, back for 2, down for 1, back for 2, and keep cascading down. They're the 2 pathways that that can move along in, so we just need to be a bit mindful of that. But yeah, so that's Apple, and it's bearish, and that would also help the you know, the other market, you know, the S&P and all that be bearish as well. And while I've been talking, I can see that the DXY is pushed up through there. So moving onwards. So with NVIDIA here, so a lot of these moves, because the Fed has spoken, you know, some of the markets have been a little bit sort of volatile, but others are not. So really, we can pretty much wait to, you know, for tomorrow as well in a lot of cases. But if Friday closes weak, then Monday's going to follow through on that. So we may see Thursday as a corrective rally, because we're seeing this strong move down now. So yeah, so in the next session we might see a counter trend rally come into place, and then Friday coming down low. So in this case here, this has panned out quite nicely here now for this. So in that, you know, because this particular pattern coming up here has just been a bit of a, you know, it's just been very sort of, you know, in lots of threes really. It's been really wonky, but anyway, call the high. We've got a little sort of 5-wave structure here. There's overlapping wave structures and things here. So yeah, I mean, what we should see in the next session is some sort of counter trend rally for these, for most of these sorts of things. Some of these stocks would have overlapped on their structures as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and others not. And yeah, but Thursday we could probably expect that, but it's Friday we're looking for. Friday morning and especially Friday afternoon. If they're bearish, then you're going to see Monday come down as well nicely, you know. So that's where that is. So yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, finding that low, and you know, for the next step, you know. Because we are trading against the trend in some cases. So this is Amazon here, and I was looking for an ABC in this space, but we had wave 1 here, and we're looking for an ABC. So I'm going to put wave 2 here, and the reason for that is Microsoft and some others. We can count 5 waves down here now, like we can with Apple. So we'll have to call these in at this point, and we'll look for further downside. But just, you know, the 90 here is going to be, you know, offer some consolidation here as well. We're going to get a classic trading levels pattern across this point here. So give it some space at that point, okay? And Meta platforms. So I think we actually had a short trade in over here somewhere for that. So this is just continue. I mean, I adjusted this to have a look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but I can see that it just wants to go down further. So I'm just wondering if I can just check this here. I mean, this makes a nice third wave here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got that little bit. I wonder if that could be 1 and 2 at that point. What's in here? Sorry, it's a bit difficult to get to because it's just like that. So what's the best way to treat this then? I'll just have to treat it as 1 and 2 in a way. I'll have to lift them up 1 degree of structure, but we'll just put this here and this here. So we know that it's bearish, so we'll just see it come down further as well here. We're going beyond 5 waves here. Not a very good 5 waves here, but we've got 3 waves here, so I have to look at that as being impulsive. And that's all part of the same leg. This is rather high here, so maybe this also needs to be a wave 2 here as well. So, I mean, obviously the market's going to come down a long way. So I think the main takeaway here is that we're going to also see some support here tomorrow and so on. So that it's going to be a little bit choppy coming into this space here. But it should eventually, if you give it enough space, it will eventually, I'm probably just dramatizing it a little bit here. But if you give it enough space, you should be able to get to the other side. So yeah, if you're short, because I think we had shorts in over here somewhere, but if you're short now, just be a bit patient with this and look to add on the other side of the 90 here. And Netflix, so we may need to call a top in for Netflix as well now, because it's moving through the 38.2% retracement level. So in one way or another, let me just clean this up here. So that's from that wave 2 low here. That will need to be it here. So basically, what we'll probably need to do here is, just bear with me a second, is to remove these here. We'll need to drop down this wave 3 here, wave 5 and wave 3 here, and bring this. We don't need to do anything today. We're just shooting the breeze. It's just that wave 4 is really quite small, and then we can bring that top in over here for that. Just move these out of the way. I was going to look to short it under this level here, so I'll just leave that there for a bit, and I'll just push these to the side. This would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for probably the way that it's looking at the moment. I'm not going to get it kicking back properly, so that's going to be there. This is going to be 3, 4, 5. And that's going to be 3 here and 4 here. So we don't need to do anything today, even though it will go down further, because we want to. I just kind of want to confirm this as well. I've either got wave 1 here, just copy this, or we've got wave A here, but so I'll just leave it like that for the moment, and I'll use these ABCs over here. Don't need that really. So I'll just see how this plays out. So what we want here is I need a bit of time to confirm that we don't have a wave 4 down here. So I'll just plonk this back over here a bit. So I need to confirm that we've got 5 waves down here and we don't have wave 4. And then once we do have 5 waves down, we're going to have an ABC back here somewhere. I'm going to remove this as well here. That's not going to be very helpful. And then it'll be this ABC that we will look to short, and it may even come from, it may even come off the 250 here as such. Be something like this. If you did short it at the moment, you just have to put the stop above here. Alrighty. So with Enphase here, yesterday we were looking at 2 scenarios. One as wave 3, 4, 5 for 1 and having that top in play, and or also having this as wave 4 over here. But obviously that's not the case, and I was looking to short that low. So the thing is now with this particular stock is that we've got to figure out, we've got 5 waves up there, so there's a good chance that we can look at this as an A and a B and a C coming down here. So yeah, let's just, if you short it, that's fine. Yeah, we just have to wait and see what it is at this point. I mean, the reason I should put this here was we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and then we got this correction here. So this is either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 coming down. 5 waves for wave A, because a wave 2 is normally a zigzag pattern, a 5, 3, 5 structure. So we can look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the A wave, and then the B wave, and so on. So we'll just keep an eye on this. I mean, we've still got this wave 4 lingering over here, but I've put it over here because we've got such a nice 5 wave structure here, you know. So we need to do 2 jobs here with all of this. So we'll just see that this will be the 3, 4 and 5 in here. So if you are short on this, then shorting it into as a short-term trade down into this space would be fine at this wave A here. You don't really want to be traveling through wave B with this if you're a short-term trader. So we'll see something like this and then something like this. So we'll see what it gets to. When it gets to here, we'll need to see 5 waves up, and then we can look to move into it at this point. And we'll see what how the US dollar is and how the S&P is, especially with the S&P, is that we've got that leading diagonal move to the upside as 1 or wave A. Tesla. Yeah, so a little bit of a tricky one here. So that makes it bearish now at this point, because I was counting down as 1, 2, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5 here. So that means that I need to put this top in here now. So bringing this over to here, And yeah, so I couldn't really, I mean, this was a little bit tricky to work this thing here. I know I could squeeze it in and do sorts of things, but the thing is now, I had 5 waves down to this point, so that's been breached now. So that means we'll be coming down further at this stage. There will be some sort of support here. So I'm thinking tomorrow there'll be some sort of little rally, but the trend will still be going down. That's the thing. So can I look at that as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 coming down? It looks like it wants to cascade down further. So anyway, we need to put that B wave over here, and we need to move these out of the way, and we'll call that topping one step at a time. So we'll put that up there as wave B or wave 2. And yeah, it just wasn't very nice, you know what I mean? It's sort of, I could see that it could be counted in both ways, but we're getting that that impulse wave coming down here now. So I'll remove that wave C, and we'll need to look at this as impulsive now. So as wave 1 here and 2 here for this, and we'll come down further for this. So in a nutshell, if you were going to go short here around this area, the stop would need to be here. So I'll just put this red line in here. So you've got, and the reason for that is because we've got 5 waves from here to here. So that top can't be breached. If that was breached, then it's over at that point, you know. Okay, moving along, and with alphabet here as well. So we're looking, that's wave 1. I don't know where my wave 2's gone, but should be there. So Google was one of the weakest ones of all. So I need to look at this as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, and then wave 3 down here with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can see that's in there now. And yeah, we'll count this here as that. So we talked about shorting this. You might be short here at the moment. So let's just, I'll put that on below the level there. I'll just assume that we are, because we talked about it. And the reason I wanted to do that was to also, or mainly to put in a stop in case, you know, you might not be in it, but there might be other folks in it. So at this point, that's the 38.2%. So that means that this could come back to this level here. So that means that if you're short here, we'll just leave the stop up here a little bit out the way at this point. Okay, so that's that. And also with Microsoft as well, I need to put this as wave 2 here, obviously, because it's breaking this down. And we've also got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 down here now. So 1 and 2, and the same thing applies here as well. We can put wave, put this above there. And moving on, so Berkshire Hathaway, we counted it up here as a top being in place just here. So yeah, that's all sort of pretty good at this stage. This is a 38.2% for wave 4 here as well, because I know this breached it here a little bit, but it's just so small that it doesn't sort of feel right to have that. And because otherwise I'd look at this as 1 and 2 over here, right? As 1 and 2 here, then wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave. So this would be wave 1 over here, and this would be wave 3 here, and then this top here would actually be this wave 3 here, and I don't have my 5 waves up here just yet for this. So I'm not quite convinced that we're over and done with this just yet. So I'll just chill on this. We don't want to short it. What I will do is that, or you could do, is that the market, obviously there's going to be support around here somewhere, so we can just gravitate to the closest largest number, and that would be 290. So that would be fair. And then there would be some sort of bounce off that 290 for a couple of reasons. Not only the support here, but also there would be some sort of 5-wave structure down here at that point. Once that bounce occurs here, then it's going to leave this low exposed. So then you can go short at that point based on that low being exposed, you know, off that bounce. And then if it comes through, well, then you're okay. I can see the stochastics here too, just wanting to pop back up as well. So we'll just see if that comes back up 50% here. On the Thursday, and then down again, you know, because in a bear market, Thursday can be the bear market, it can be the rally, you know. So yeah, we've got to be a bit careful about this just yet. Okay. With block here, we were looking at block in two ways, looking at it as a little A, B, C, D, E, and here's a triangle pattern, and then looking at wave 5 here, but we also had this sitting over here as well. But at the same time, we could also short here. So if you're short here, that's fine. And then you can just put the stop here now to break even at this point. So we'll just leave that there. You may survive it, you may not at this point, but at least you've got yourself a free trade at this point. So it's a bit of fingers crossed at this point. But you know, the thing here is that we're looking for an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here, and that seems to be in place there. There will be support where it is now because we're close to that, you know, well, 61.8% and the 78.6. So. That number there, so that's where that strength is coming from. It does look like down for one, back for two, down for one, back for two. So we'll just see how that goes. See if it, you know, take a while to get through this here. So just need a little bit of patience. So the next thing is the banks. So the Bank of America had the easiest count to the upside in this upside here in terms of counting from wave B to wave C here of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. The other banks had they moved up as well, but the counts weren't as easy as this one. And yesterday when we were looking at this chart here, just on this 10,000 ticks here, I mentioned that we had 1, 2 here and 3 and 4, and we just needed one more little push to the upside. So it does look like it's actually completed now. So I think the thing is, with most of the markets at this point is, you know, we can bring this down into here and put this down into here as well. It's really about seeing, in a nutshell, I mean, this could come down here further, right? But I think what we're looking for is Thursday to have a bit of a rally, and then Friday and Thursday afternoon, or the afternoon session, and Friday to come down at that point, you know. And then if it is Friday, if Friday, like adding on that weakness, and then if Friday afternoon is also weak as well, you want to be adding to your positions again, because the likelihood of Monday also being bearish is really on the cards, and Tuesday gets a little bit of profit taking, and then in the afternoon trend it's down. Wednesday you get these sort of V-shaped sort of days like this, you know, and then down, and then Thursday again is that rally day at that point, you know, and then you look for the fading at that point, when the Friday down again as well with the Monday, you know. That's the bearish weekly cycle. So looking at the bearish weekly cycle in line with the Elliott wave count, and also use the trading levels as well, and the volume and the indicators, and we'll see if we can get through this. So I think that top is in on 10 ticks here. So we were looking at wave 3 and 4, and then we'd been counting up here. So we counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for blue wave 1 and blue wave 2, blue wave 3, blue wave 4, and then I was looking for 1 and 2. And yeah, so I'm going to look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, fourth wave, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here. Didn't make a new high here, but it gave me 5 waves there and 3 waves here. So maybe I need to call that as part of that. But the fact that this has come down so far now, it tells me that we need to be looking at this as a top here. Now, yes, we can count 5 waves down, but there is overlap here. So it could be counted down as an ABC for the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave here. So as I've just chatting about. Is that 5 waves finished here? It doesn't really matter if that's finished or not, but basically what we're looking for is some sort of corrective rally with all of this. Now, if this is going to be 5 waves here, and we're going to, you know, that overlap doesn't matter in that case. If it does, I mean, obviously, you know, we can look at it as an A and a B and a C wave here and be corrective. But what we're going to do is just look at this. When you start to see it rally, then we can look at it being basically up here somewhere, and you can short it from up there if you wanted to. But what we want to do is we want to have that, wherever that low is, it might be further downside here, right? But when we do get that rally, we'll go put that under the first one and then this under the second one. That will be the, and you can short here, but you just need to make it a very small position, you know, because you'll have to keep your stop higher up at that point. So that's what we're going to do. Let's just have a look at the other banks and see if we've got any overlap here or not, you know. I mean, you can see from this here that that there's plenty of support at this point here. The question we need to ask ourselves is, do we have wave 1 here and wave 2 here? It kind of, you know, it doesn't matter because we just really want to make money. We want to see a bounce off this, and you see this situation here where we had that bounce off here. So we had that low exposed and we got this one and this one. So these are positions where you can add to the downside at that point. This looks like, yeah, there could be one more move down here, I think. It looks like a little 4th wave, but anyway, it doesn't really matter, but we will get a bounce from there. So anyway, that's looking at that, and you should be able to get back, you know, get some positions up here, but just keep it small up there because we want to confirm things. This is Morgan's here. Let's just have a look at this here. I mean, calling tops in is a mug's game, as I say, so this one's a high here. We've got 1, 2, well, 3, 4 here. We don't have that down here. We've just got 3 waves down at the moment. Looks like it wants to come down further. But we've got a strong overlap here. So it can be down for, look, it can be an A and a B and a C wave here, and then it can just go straight up from here and continue to the upside. That looks impulsive to me here rather than corrective. So we're not here yet. We're not there yet. On the other side of this is we go 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 in that regard. But we don't have a clear pathway just here for this. Let's just have a look at Goldman's as well. Yeah, see here it doesn't give us 5 waves at all, does it? You know, it's much more like an A, B, C here for the, you know, corrective move and an impulse wave here. But this is quite, this is corrective, but it really tests that low there a little bit, doesn't it? Does it break it? Yeah, it breaks it. Okay, so it doesn't really give us the 5 waves that we're looking for. But what it does do, it could be that we're looking at it as wave 1 and 2 here on the bearish side. We need to have a look at that too, because that's the way that things work as well. So we can just look at it as 1 and 2 here. If we looked at it as 1 and 2 here, that means that we don't want to see a breach above this here. That would have to be the stop at that point. So I'm just going to turn it red. And it also means 2 on the long side. It means we can also go long from that point there as well. This doesn't really give me 5 waves down at this point either. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe, yeah. This is the 350, so yeah, I suppose we could go short here, but just keep it very small at this point. It's not, we don't have a clear pathway down from the top, because basically when you get with Elliott, you can get a nice 5 wave structure like this here, and everything is rosy, and then you know that after 5 waves you're going to get your ABC pattern here, and it's easy to work, and you know, we can just go short under here, or we can short at the 61.8% mark. But then you get these situations the other way the 5 waves works is you get the 1 and the 2 here, and then you get the 1 and the 2 here, and you get this overlap at that point, and then you get, you know, another 1 and 2 in here, and then it kind of just keeps doing this, and the 3rd wave steps out a bit further, and then you know that you're on the right track at that time, and so on. So it can go in two different ways. So yeah, so it could be either one of these. But at the same time, because it's got that overlap here now, it's either 1, 2 and 1, 2, or it's corrective. And if that top is taken out, that proves that it's corrective at that point. That's the problem. But I think that's worth a risk at this point because of what else is going on at this point in time. So I'll leave it all at that. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.